guys, I'm Jen Lorman, exercise physiologist, mom of 3, and co-owner of Tighten Your Tinkler.
I'm Christina Walsh, physical therapist, mom of 2, and co-owner of Tighten Your Tinkler.
We are breaking down planks today. If you saw our post earlier this week, we are focusing on core exercise corrections, and today we're reviewing our top 3 mistakes that we see when women are planking. And hang around to the end because I'm going to be giving you a bonus tip. So Christina is going to be our lovely fitness model again. And we're going to start with the typical thing that we see here when women come into us. Dipping those hips too low. And that just can't feel good.
You feel it right away in that low back, and it is not good. And I know you're doing it because you think this is the way you're supposed to. You're supposed to drop the hips low. But if you go too low,
all you're feeling is your back extensors, or maybe you can't find the spot where your abs come on, and that's why you're holding too low. But ideally, in a plank, it really doesn't matter how low your hips are. It is about starting higher and finding that position where you can get your deep abdominals on board. So starting up higher, and then she's gonna slowly drop those hips until she feels, okay, my abs have got this. It's not in my low back. So that's tip number 1, how to fix if you're dipping too low. The next thing that we see all the time, I see this a lot from my girls who are like, I can plank forever and ever, no problem, Jen. And actually, Christina's helping me out because she's doing some of it right now. She's got, so there's like a triangle through her elbows, right? Which kind of sets her up to actually, shoulder blade winging, which I don't know if you can see that, but it's like she's got like a valley happening between her shoulder blades. So what you're gonna do, the other thing that I see is elbows are in front of your shoulders. So if you pull those up a little bit, then you're gonna start to recruit more in those neck and shoulders, and you're really gonna feel it there. You want your shoulder right over your elbow and pressing down through your elbows to load up those lats. Those lats really have some overlap in some of those abdominal muscles. Sorry, Chris.
And if you get to that point where it's just crazy, all the wrong places you start to feel it. I mean, I had never done this before we started practicing these demos, kind of quite so without my lats. And when those shoulder blades are winging, not only do I feel more pressure in my neck, but I also feel more pressure in my low back because those lats come and connect all the way down to all the fascial tissue here. So that is a big one that will really cause you a lot of pain and stop the right muscles from firing, the ones that you want, your deep abdominals.
Yeah, that shoulder stability is so related to getting those deep abdominal muscles on board. And that really is our last tip. You just can't get your abs on board. For some of you guys, that's because you have a DR. If you go back into our post earlier this week, we have a great graphic really showing and explaining what a DR is, those separation of abdominals that happens either from a previous injury or from pregnancy. So if you have that and you look down and you see coning, I call it my alien baby that used to pop out of my belly with my 5-finger whip DR that I had. You want to stop doing this exercise because it means that you're not able to transfer the forces across the abdominal wall correctly, and you could really hurt yourself.
Yeah, and sometimes you might have a smaller DR. I have a smaller space that's kind of never closed. I've been able to effectively get my deep abdominals back on board even with that. But for me, that's meant keeping my hips up in that higher position for longer, because if I drop too low, I do lose that engagement with those deep abdominals. I start to feel it in the wrong places because I do have some separation still. So those are things to be really aware of and careful about. And in our course, we teach you how to correctly assess for that DR and what to do about it, how to get it to close safely and effectively so that you can get back to all this stuff again with all the right muscles firing.
And how to magically close that DR with our secret sauce exercises.
Yeah, it's awesome and easier than you might think.
Our bonus tip for you, which I see a lot in the women we treat oftentimes with the pelvic dysfunction or the core dysfunction that we see, a lot of women actually come to us with complaints of really tight hip flexors. So, and they have tried all the things to stretch it, and they cannot get those hip flexors to turn off.
They're foam rolling, they're stretching in every contortion. They're really trying. They know they're overfiring and chronically tight, but that can play a big part in how you might be cheating in your planks too, accidentally.
Yeah, you're more than likely using those hip flexors to take over the work of your deep abdominals. So in this plank, what we see, and it's kind of hard to see if you don't have a trained eye, but they load and push through your feet. So you can feel if you really start to push through your feet, what's happening is the front of her thighs are really taking that, her hip flexors are really taking that load, and it can allow the deep abdominals, those TA muscles, to really turn off. So if you feel it like, oh, this is a great quad exercise, I really feel my quads, I really feel my hip flexors, you're missing the boat with that planking. You want to actually lift those hips up a little bit and slowly guide them down to see if you can get those deep abdominals to catch you.
And I love the cue that I love that Jen has taught me and uses all the time is light through the feet, heavy through the pelvis, heavy through your center. And that, if you really sit with that and you're in that position and you're trying to be lighter on your feet, heavier in your center, you will find that
balance.
At the strain, the pull, the contraction, the tightness moves to that deep core and moves out of quads and hip flexors. And this is stuff you probably don't even realize you're doing. Nobody's probably helped you break it down this much before. Makes a big difference.
And this is how we coach in our course. We get into the nitty-gritty, giving you all the cues and the tips. So if you're interested, hop on over to our website. We have a quiz that you can take to see if this is a good fit for you. We also have a freebie up at the top, our 90/90 decompression, that'll be sent right to your inbox that will give you some relief in that low back and hips starting today.
Is great. Hopefully these tips have been helpful. If you have any questions, please throw them at us. We are ready to help you do the deep dives and answer all the questions.
Yeah, DM us your pictures, your videos. We would love that. Message us those things because we're interested in helping you troubleshoot and feel your best. And also stay tuned because next week, breaking down those squats.